Hey, what's up? Oh, you don't agree with me with everything? That's alright, baby. I tolerate you. Tolerance is the key nowadays. Your truth, my truth. It's all good. But if you don't agree with my choices of sexuality, if you think that homosexuality is something unnatural, then that gives me every right to treat you like the dog poop on the bottom of my shoe. Here I want to introduce the idea of the paradox of intolerance. The idea is, if a society is tolerant without limit, its ability to tolerate will eventually lead to it being seized or destroyed by intolerance. Therefore, it's necessary to be intolerant against the intolerant. Of course, with an idea like this, there's no definitions, there's no clarity as to the terms that they use. So people just throw this out and use it as a means to attack people. Once you define your terms, then you limit the capacity and the power of the idea. You also make it a lot more logical. Logic. Tolerant without limit. Does that mean tolerance of everything? And intolerance of intolerance? Are we talking about actually committing violence? There are countries where gay people are hunted down just for the fact of being gay and murdered in the streets. And there's also places where it is the cultural norm to sexually assault women. Or are we just talking about a difference of opinions? Ambiguous. Who knows? Let's try to pin down the idea behind the paradox of intolerance, or at least how people are applying it on a day-to-day basis. By looking at their actions, maybe we can deduce the meaning. As you know, we have entered the utmost holy time of Pride Month, where we can see people posting every 5 minutes a rainbow or a quote, and where companies have morphed their products into some sort of pandering to the gay community. Of course, this doesn't happen in the countries where being homosexual is outlawed. I guess they don't support the gay people in that place. And you know, the companies aren't even creative. They just get their same old jean jacket and just put on some rainbows because that's not tacky. Before we continue, I think it's time to make a visit to Google and ask him or her or they what tolerate means. To tolerate is to allow the existence, occurrence, or practice of something that one does not necessarily like or agree with without interference. So what we see from these companies and the people on social media is not toleration. What is expected is active promotion. Okay, let's look at intolerance and maybe we can understand more about what is expected, what is the narrative. I think we all agree that there are certain actions that we need to be intolerant of, namely violent actions. When we see things like murder, sexual or physical assault, anything that is dealing with children, or even a true and verified hate crime, those things are not promoted at all, especially in law. And those people that commit those actions should be brought to justice. I think at least we can all agree on that. I hope. But what if someone doesn't give in to the narrative that is expected? For example, if someone were to, without targeting an individual, would say that they don't agree with the gay lifestyle, especially the one that is promoted by social media and Hollywood during the month of Pride. Maybe they think that it's not something that is morally good nor beneficial to society. Maybe they don't like the idea of subjecting their children to a drag queen reading hour or any sort of sexual, homosexual propaganda when they're still in elementary school. Maybe that's your opinion, maybe not. But what happens is the other side perceives that opinion as a call to arms. They look at it as an act of violence. In fact, I had someone write to me in my DMs the other day. I had commented on one of their stories where they basically gave the middle finger to their haters who probably held the position that I just mentioned. And I said, "Good job, fight fire with fire. That's called progress." And in their paragraph of a response, one part really stood out to me. They said, "My existence is threatened by those who choose to hate." I've seen this happen over and over and over again, that certain people with a certain narrative consider people who say the other opinion to be violent just for stating their opinion. And if we consider the opinions of others that do not coincide with our own to be acts of violence, that means that our reactions have no limits. Intolerance of intolerance. If we do want to get along, we're going to meet people every day that have differing opinions to ours. It's a normal part of living within a society, especially in the United States, where it's so multicultural and you have so many different religions and backgrounds. People are not going to agree with you. And I would even say that it's good to be challenged. If we're only surrounded by people that agree with us, then we're just in this stagnant cesspool, and we never are able to grow as people and challenge our own ideas and maybe improve upon them, maybe make them more stable, or even, God forbid, change our opinions. After coming from a strict religious background where with membership comes a complete conformity of one's mind and body and soul to a certain way of being, I see the same tendency in the cultish gay community, where those who do not espouse the ideas of the time are banished into the darkness of hell. I'm afraid so many are afraid to interject their own opinions because they don't want to lose the apparent security that they have and support system. Because as long as you say the right words, do the right things, then the community will be tolerant of you. But if you in any way stray from the path, then you will be seen as one of the intolerant, one who provokes violence. And intolerance is given to intolerant people. And we don't know the limits that they will go to destroy you. Let us be awake and aware. As always, thank you for spending some time with me and listening to my thoughts and opinions. Even if they're not your own opinions, this is not an act of violence, I promise you. And if you want to help out my channel, you can share, tell your friends, like the video, comment, subscribe. And if you're able to monetarily help out, because I'm doing this all on my own, then I actually have a page. It's like Patreon, but it's called Ko-fi, where you can buy a coffee, $5, that's it, or more. And I have some special content on there. If you want to check it out, that would be great. But in any case, I appreciate your support simply by watching the video. Have a great day. I tolerate you.